Hello and welcome to another episode of a Wicked Parley. Tonight we're going to be talking about hobbies.
Hobbies, hobby lobby, hobby for days.
Oh man.
I don't know. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, my goodness, there are so many things to talk about when it comes to hobbies. I have a difficult time containing myself on how many things there are. And just because it's so fun to talk about, I have a very difficult time talking about the negatives of hobbies. So, to try and get that particularly out of the way, we're going to talk about negatives before positives. So that's going to be a weird thing. I know you guys are not expecting that.
It's going to be a little funky.
It's going to be funky. But, Rose, why don't we go ahead and define some of the definitions we're going to be using for tonight's episode?
Yeah, let me go ahead and let's just go ahead. First one, the name of the episode. Hobby. Who would have thunk?
I know, right? It's so weird. It's so weird to see it.
Alright. So, hobby. A pursuit outside of one's regular occupation engaged in, especially for relaxation.
Or just fun.
So, yeah, or it's just fun. Something, you don't do for work.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's also get that. So,
I will say this, though.
hobby
When it comes to hobbies, do you have any specific hobbies that you, directly would say correlate to this particular definition?
Pursuit outside one's regular occupation engaged in, especially for relaxation. Would the show count?
The show does count.
Although sometimes it ain't relaxing.
That's fair. That's a good point. I don't know. Some of the holiday special shenanigans, getting that footage recorded is...
Like, watching it's going to be relaxing. Dealing with it, on the other hand.
Yeah. I hope you guys really appreciate the struggle that we would put ourselves through to produce the content.
So, second definition, obsession.
Obsession.
Specifically, an activity. Yeah, that one. An activity that someone is very interested in or spends a lot of time doing. So,
yeah.
To give an example, my current gaming obsession is Genshin Impact.
Yeah, that's an obsession. I'm gonna say that right now, audience.
I've kind of forgotten my other games.
Yeah, she's completely let them all go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my gosh. Whenever I think of the word obsession, I just think of like a perfume or a cologne. Brought to you by Calvin Klein Obsession. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, it smells like I want stuff. I don't know. I don't know. All right.
And last definition, which actually will not have a official one.
Yeah.
Well, it does. It's just not one I can pull up.
Yeah. It's fair.
So, the last one is addictive behavior. Help me.
Sure, yeah, I'll go through it. When the term is used in modern periods to describe persons exhibiting a pathological condition, the Merriam-Webster defines addiction as a compulsive, chronic, physiological, or psychological need to form or create habit-forming substance behavior or active harming of physical, psychological, or social effects, and typically causing well-defined symptoms such as anxiety, irritability, tremors, or nausea, which is a pretty extensive list and also is not very easy to throw up a definition clear-cut. Addictive behavior, kind of, in my particular opinion, is all the things listed and more, and it's usually whenever a hobby or a leisure activity takes a wrong turn and stops being about having fun and enjoying yourself and unwinding and becomes the whole entirety of that individual's life. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it's kind of important to kind of have those particular notes just because they can happen and it's not good. I don't desire to see that.
The time.
Yeah, but
all the time.
It can happen. Yeah, I am very familiar with individuals who have sacrificed their rent for Legos. So
I still can't believe that, no matter how many times you tell me.
Oh no, it's real.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure even if you showed me this receipt, I wouldn't believe it because I wouldn't want to believe it, despite the truth in front of me.
Who spends $2,000 on Legos and then can't afford rent? Mm-hmm.
Well, no, actually, I do have a similar story when I was checking out an apartment for a friend of mine.
Oh, okay. Maybe we don't say that on the air. Maybe we don't say that on the air.
Nah.
And by the way, Kyle, host, hi. Welcome, guys. We get to talk about hobbies.
Hello.
Hey, let us know what your guys' hobbies are in the chat, because, we'll respond to that as we go through tonight's episode. So, hey, it's going to be interactive, guys. Just participate. Yeah.
Participation.
Yeah.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
And I think there's like some Yu-Gi-Oh playing or something like that. So, there's that. All right. What is the first section we're jumping into, Rose?
So, as you mentioned before we get to the fun stuff, let's just toss out the negatives. Get them out of here.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the negatives.
Are there any negative aspects of hobbies? Like, what are some problems that might occur beyond addictive personalities and all that stuff?
Okay, so obviously, other than completely ruining your financial situation by not doing things and having them,
Financial stability.
yes, you also sacrifice the time that you normally would have for friends, family, and other like intimate relations. And that can cause you to get alienated from a friend group, from a spouse or significant other, or just your family in general. Be like, he's gone or she's gone, and
it's just like, oh, come down for dinner too. It's like, no, I can't. I'm very blank.
I don't want to know what they're doing.
Hence the blank. Or beep.
Yeah, or beep. Beep in that bleep, and oh my god, beep.
Anyway, so, ruining relationships, ruining your finances, I guess a bunch of stability options, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, frankly speaking, some of the biggest problems when it comes to doing hobbies is taking the hobby too far. All right, and so when you take it too far, you're going to run into a whole host of things. Like we've mentioned with the addictive personality, with the idea of ruining relationships, with the idea of upsetting your financial stability if you have it, and every facet of your life. Because when a hobby takes over, it creates the situation that inevitably creates havoc and problems that you can't exactly predict. So, that's definitely one of them. And hi, Jacket. My hobbies is causing chaos for streamers. Okay, bring it on. Challenge accepted. However, I want you to understand that I am technically in love with chaos, and so you'll have a difficult time trying to figure out how to untame my crazy perspective of things. Anyways, all right, yeah. So
and if you can hear my typing, I am very sorry.
No, it's not that bad. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, lightning fingers.
Anyway, so consequences of going too far into a hobby, as you just mentioned.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really think there's too much more beyond that. I think the rest of it is pretty straightforward, and any person who's ever interacted with anyone who's had maybe gone a little too far with hobbies, the guy who goes out golfing and goes, you know what, I'm going to buy not just one new golf club, I'm going to buy a whole new set, and then I'm going to do it every other month.
Lord almighty. Okay.
Yeah. Kyle, you have my hobbies are D&D, world building, writing fan fiction, and listening to horror stories about water. Okay, all fascinating, fun, cool hobbies. I would like to know of the hobbies listed, which one's your favorite and why? So let's go ahead and jump on to the next section.
Here's one that can be like kind of negative, kind of positive, depending on the spin you take on it.
Okay.
Which would be, what is your opinion about situations where a hobby seemingly has taken over somebody's life?
Okay, so like a spiral effect of sorts?
Kind of. Just a little bit. Like, we've already gotten into the consequences of going too far into a hobby, but like, are there any instances where, essentially, if a hobby does, quote, take over your life, can it actually be considered a good thing?
Yeah, I think there are some examples of that. I'm sure some people have taken up like certain sports or athletic activities or even going to the gym as a sort of hobby. I definitely am aware of a few people who are friends of mine who are bodybuilders as a hobby. And one of the things that I think that is kind of interesting is that their hobbies kind of started off as just like this, I'm just going to try and get like healthy. Then I'm going to try and get buff. Now I'm going to try and be a bodybuilder. And it just like, it started off as like this one small side thing, and then it just kind of ballooned up over time and like slowly became encroaching in other parts of life, where I would say that it has become almost borderline obsession, But
Lord.
but it definitely has not been as detrimental as other versions, we'll say, of this particular type of consequence.
Okay.
And one of the main things that's easy to point out from that particular example is that, well, their health is phenomenal, their body is phenomenal, and they have a lot of very positive outlook and energy that they might not otherwise have. And so while it is definitely become an obsession, and perhaps maybe they're chasing that runner's high of sorts that is given whenever you perform extensive athletic activities, it's not necessarily, I think, super problematic as so much as perhaps selling your car to buy a bunch of trading cards.
Okay, so we've got, bodybuilders for a potential positive, and then we've listed quite a number of negative. Jesus, somebody sold their car for a bunch of cards.
I had heard a story years ago. So years ago, I used to be a pretty infamous Yu-Gi-Oh player, we'll say. And through
Speaking of which,
through Yu-Gi-Oh connections, I came across lots of people, and there was an individual that I had come across in my years. Where the guy literally sold his car to buy a case of the newest set.
Lord
at the
almighty.
time, and I remember the guy. He was he was super happy about it. He was like, "Oh, I finally sold my car. I can finally do it." And then then I saw him 6 weeks later, at the bus stop, complaining about how the bus was never on time.
Oh my.
So that's kind of. Sort of funny, I guess. Payback is a bitch sometimes, I guess. I don't know. Life, I guess, when life gives you lemons, you can choose to throw them away instead of making lemonade.
What about lemon squares?
Okay. All right. So Kyle writes, writing fan fiction because it's 90% erotica. I think that we should also talk about socially acceptable obsessions versus socially unacceptable obsessions. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. Maybe we can take a look at that. It would require...
I'm still laughing at Jacket's earlier comment.
Yes. Now, bodybuilders are not bears in disguise. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's just... no. I'm telling you that right now. No. Secretly, I'm a fat guy, all right? It's not even secret. You guys have seen it. You already know. It's like, hello. But, yeah.
All right.
But 90% erotica? Kyle, I'll ask you about that later. How do you go about writing erotica? It's like, all right. I don't know. I'm curious.
All right.
Academically, of course.
All right. Enough of the doom and gloom. That's for Saturday.
Doom and gloom. Oh, yeah. We're talking about apocalypse on Saturday, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Cataclysm.
The end of the world. I still think my favorite line from all that stuff is definitely from, I think it's Armageddon. With one guy who brings lawn chairs onto the asteroid's going to hit the Earth. He's like, I wanted front row seats to the end of the world. I'm all like, oh my God.
All right. So.
Oh, that makes total sense, Kyle. Yeah, 100%. I get that.
Yeah.
It's true. I don't think so, but at least the guys that I know, they're very happy with their women. So.
I'm not quite sure whether the "it's true" is talking about the bears in the gay community or the writing fan fiction. So we're going to just wait for clarification later. Yeah. So, what are some positive aspects of having hobbies?
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. We're all right. So this is going to potentially be a rant. Okay.
Do it.
All right. Okay. I'm going to try and slow it down so it's not though. All right. So one of the many things that have to do with hobbies have to do with the fact that it brings happiness and a sense of accomplishment into your life. A lot of people go through their lives getting kind of kicked down. They get told what to do at their job. They get people constantly, telling them, hey,
a lot of critics.
Yeah. Hey, one thing or another, this is what this is supposed to be, etc. Yada, yada, yada. And so people sometimes just need to have a win. And one of the ways in which they can get that win is by participating in a hobby and excelling in that particular thing. Yeah. Whether it be a writer, whether it be a fitness enthusiast, whether it be a sports enthusiast, a sports fan, an editor, or a video creator.
I'm crocheting right now.
Yeah, she's crocheting right now. People who go fishing. Anything that you could possibly imagine that considers in the idea of hobby, if you can make it somehow a win for yourself is an incredibly strong way of motivating yourself to have a better outlook and achieving even greater success. And when those particular bad moments at work or in your life in general happen, they don't have to be so bad, because at least you have at least one win under your belt in the hobby category.
You're good at something.
Yeah. Also, because you're feeling so happy and so positive, your body is going to naturally produce higher levels of dopamine and serotonin, which are the feel-good chemicals, and those are going to also elicit a better response to things that are otherwise unsavory to you. So it's a great way of kind of getting around some of the issues in a way that is sort of natural and just having you be sort of productive. So yeah, I mean, like that's the end of my rant about that one subsection. Now I'm gonna rant about a whole new. Yeah, I'm gonna rant about a whole new subsection. Okay, so the next particular subsection kind of alludes to a how do I best put this? You're like, I don't know.
I don't know. Which of these are you gonna choose, babe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, which one? Which one, little bear?
What?
Bear. You're a bear on the screen right now.
All right, that's fair. I don't even know. I don't know how to deal with that one. I don't know. Anyways, all right. So the other thing is hobbies allow you to learn other skills to participate in the hobby more often than not that you don't necessarily think about.
The main skills and then the passive skills.
That's right. The passive. So one example of this is that let's say hypothetically you want to be a bow hunter, and you want to like go out into the woods and you want to hunt like elk or wild boar or whatever, right?
You have a thing against boars.
Yes, I do. Fuck boars. All boars, especially the ones in Genshin. Anyways, so we're not going on there. But in order to do that particular thing, you might need to learn a series of survival skills, like some ways of like camping in the woods, being able to get food and water, without having to necessarily bring like a bunch of water bottles. You'll have to
being able to not get lost.
Yeah, not get lost, be able to start a fire, find your way back, things like that, right? And so all of those particular skills are incorporated and need to be learned in order to be an effective bow hunter. And so like that's a way a hobby can kind of have you learn a whole bunch of subset of skills that you might not otherwise have. Another person might be a car enthusiast and want to collect classic cars. Well, perhaps if you want to collect classic cars, you might need to know how to fix classic cars, because that might be kind of expensive to send it to a mechanic.
Might need to, take care of them.
Yeah, and so this way you might actually get exposed to a bunch of mechanical engineering knowledge that will further build up your overall ability to actually work on the things in which you're collecting, which can further spur your overall desire and interest in that particular hobby. So those are a couple of ways. Now, I could keep on going, but I would like Rose to have a chance to say some things. Because I just keep on going and going and going. So,
I mean, even just like doing sports kind of teaches you quite a number of things, like passively too, like if you're on a team and whatnot. Obviously, if you're doing a sport, you're going to learn the skills that are associated with that sport, such as like track and field or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to definitely learn about calories in, calories out. You're going to learn about a whole bunch of stretches. You're going to learn about a whole bunch of, I guess we could say, weightlifting and aerobic exercises. And then the
limits of your body,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're going to have a real good understanding of your body.
Yeah, so those are all the physical things, but there are the passive things, like communication with your teammates, being able to socialize, and then, not tripping over your feet.
Yeah, coordination definitely.
And then if you do like relay races where you have to, toss a baton, you're not going to, chuck that thing and hope the gosh lands.
I mean, you could.
You could. But it's like, for the most part, that's not really, a reliable way of passing a baton.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's like track and field. If you do like, more hand-eye coordination sports, basketball, tennis, and then, feet-eye coordination, soccer.
Feet-eye coordination. Okay. I'm gonna say that's coordination just in general, but okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine.
And then there are, of course, the more social, mental, cognitive aspects for I think in that article you showed me about fishing, you
Yeah.
mentioned, learning patience, learning how to focus.
And also just having kind of like a sense of nature. Like one of the things I love about fishing is that, you can't make too much sound. So you're kind of forced to kind of learn how to control your breathing. And by doing that, it kind of almost puts you into a meditative state and allows you to really get in touch with nature and your surroundings in a way that I think is something that's lost on a lot of people who are in the busy bustles of cities and whatnot.
Loud, very loud.
Yes.
There's a reason I prefer suburbs.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go to a 2-minute break, but before we do, I just want to respond to one thing. Fuck it. I hate fucking boars. Fuck all boars. I will kill every fucking boar I ever come across, and I mean it, Jacket. Fuck all boars. Those things won't stop fucking trying to attack my ass.
All right.
Okay. All right.
2 minutes.
I'll see you in 2
in a
minutes. Fuck boars. All right, and we're back. All right. Hi. Okay, so first things first, I want to, before we jump into the next segment, I want to respond to Kyle's comment, particularly referring to the one where you say positive aspects of hobbies. People need leisure. It's a massive part of our identity as adults. That's very understudied. I will say this. This particular semester, I actually took a leisure class that was able to kind of discuss, academically speaking, where leisure's at, how people should interact with leisure, and it was very informative. I might even do an episode entirely on leisure, and I might even interview my professor for that episode, because he was he was a very interesting individual and very informative. And the thing I would say about that is you're right about the fact that people need leisure. I think the part that you might be a little bit not 100% knowledgeable about is the fact that it is very well understood and it has been studied quite extensively. There's a very large group of individuals who are dedicated to adding to that particular body of knowledge every day and promoting information. And if you'd like some resources on those particular things, I'd be happy to connect you with them. But yeah. And then your other comment, Kyle, is hobbies are proximal processes that drive development in adulthood. Absolutely agree with that 100%. 100% that is true. Because I think that hobbies just in general add and develop and change and shape and allow people to grow at every possible opportunity, because you're being exposed to things you either don't know or you're becoming better at, and because of that you are growing as a person. Either way. So, like, I think those are
what
strong
is that one
points.
saying about the free hobbies thing?
What do you mean?
I remember that there was this thing, I might be misremembering it, probably misremembering it. It was essentially like find 3 hobbies throughout your life. One to make you healthy, one to make you happy, and one to make you money.
That's actually, yeah, that's a little colloquial saying. I don't think it's actually legitimately based on anything, but I think,
but
I
it
do
just
think,
reminds me of that.
Yeah, I
you
do
know,
think-
with the whole.
it makes sense. It makes sense. Like, I agree with it to a lot of extent. I mean, if you are interested in outdoor activities, that makes you healthy. If you are interested in collecting things that might make you money, and then if you find something perhaps that's expressive, it might help you internally. So, like art, paint, etc.
Oh, speaking of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do hobbies allow you to essentially, well, express yourself and connect with other people?
Okay. Sure.
Like, I know, you know, team aspects, but more kind of individually, I guess.
Okay. So hobbies, no matter what kind of hobby you're into, it's going to drive you to force you to interact with people in the world. You know, even if your hobby is, I'd say you make beads, like pictures with beads, or you make some parts of art. Yeah, make some art at home. You're still going to have to go to the store, and you're going to have to buy those supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're one of those people who buy things only online. But at the end of the day, if you buy things only online, you're paying a lot of money, and you're going to lack some of your creativity. So I would implore those people to still go outside and go to their shops and actually buy things.
Yeah, I go shopping for most of my supplies in person if I can, but for whatever reason, bead sprites is kind of hard.
Yeah, it is kind of hard. But I mean, at the end of the day, you still get the opportunity to interact with people. And that is one of those key elements I think that's involved when it comes to hobbies and the way in which it connects people. Also, if your hobby is something that other people are passionate about, let's say hypothetically your hobby is you're like a person who likes to go to sports events and you like to support your local team, and that's your hobby, then you become part of the fandom and you can share that interest with other people in your community. And it can help add to your overall social interaction, which is something that I think a lot of people in today's age need. Because I think online interaction is taking the place of a lot of physical interaction, and I think that's come at a cost. And I think that part of the cost is an idea of self-worth. In fact, in one of my, and I'm going to talk about school again, sorry, end of finals week, but in my one of my other classes, I actually did a research project that looked at a correlation between self-esteem and social media use.
Oh yeah, I remember looking at that.
Yeah, and the information that was presented there essentially pointed to the people who use social media the most often have the lowest levels of self-esteem.
Oh.
And not unsurprisingly, females represented the majority of the people who were studying that particular area.
Oh,
now, that could be for a lot of reasons. That wasn't exactly outlined 100%. Could have been the fact that maybe the people who were part of the study were mostly female because most people who are in college are female. Maybe it was that more people utilize social media more frequently, and that's female. There's a whole bunch of reasons why that could be.
Yeah,
But
get the description on the sample size and why.
Yeah, exactly. But what I can say is that it didn't matter necessarily the gender. It did show that the more you used it, the lower your self-esteem was. And so I think that like when you get people involved in your hobbies and you get involved with overall, communities in general, no matter what that hobby is, whether it be trading cards, Legos, hunting, some sport event, some form of athleticism, like going to the gym, going on runs, going fishing. All of those things are going to require supplies that you are likely going to need from stores, which are going to force you to interact. And it's also going to allow you to have the opportunity to have something to say to someone else, and you might be able to find that you can share hobbies with people. So, all right, so that was a bit of a rant. I apologize.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's just, interaction with people. Don't be a little hermit.
I really want to be like drum at home, like, hey, talk to people.
Talk to people.
Talk to people. Talk to people. Don't be a hermit. Don't be a hermit.
We were already forced to be hermits for the last year and a half. Don't do it again.
I mean, we don't really have control over, the malicious
Yeah,
variants,
I know.
but I would still say, get vaccinated, get vaccinated, get vaccinated, get vaccinated.
Get booster shit.
And get your boosters, and,
I still need to get mine.
Okay.
Hey, at least I'm fully vaccinated.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. So am I, but still. The point is, get vaccinated so that way you can interact with people.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Okay, next one.
So, we've mentioned before, hobbies helping you grow mentally, physically, health-wise, and stuff like that. So it's like, how do hobbies help you grow as a person?
How do hobbies help you grow as a person?
That is very vague, and I am sorry for that.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. Well, I mean, obviously, as we've kind of already outlined, hobbies allow an individual to be able to express themselves and challenge themselves in ways that they otherwise wouldn't. And through that particular adversity, they're able to then use it to grow. That seems to be very evident in a lot of the literature that I've found and that I'd be happy to share with Kyle. And anyone else who is interested in this particular subject.
Me.
You. So absolutely, when it comes to that, that's one element. I think another thing that is probably obvious but probably underspoken has to do with the fact of if you feel like you accomplished something, then when you are interactive with something that you feel like you failed, the failure does not impact you as much or as heavily because you have other wins under your belt, which kind of correlates with a little bit with what I said before earlier on when it came to trying to feel more happy when bad things happen. So this is specifically what I'm referring to.
Kind of pulling yourself out of a funk?
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy for the world to knock us on our knees and to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And it sometimes can be very difficult to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep going because you're constantly surrounded by things that would be detracting. Hopefully, you find hobbies that you enjoy and are engaging with that make you feel happy and give you that sense of win, so that way when those things happen, you have a reason to get back up. If not for the thing that caused you to get knocked down, but at least for the pursuit of things that genuinely make you happy.
Nice little butterflies.
Yeah.
Alright.
Do you have any particular questions about that particular thing?
Let's see.
And while I'm waiting for that response, Kyle, I'll get you that information probably in the next couple of days. I have one more final to wrap up that I'm still working on stuff for, so I'm kind of still a little bit busy on this week, but I will be getting it to you within the next few days, okay? So I'll be looking for that. I have your email, I believe, so should be good to go.
For people you think that are in a funk and don't really have hobbies that they can think of on the top of their head, how easy do you think it'd be for them to pick up a new hobby if they're in the middle of that funk?
Well, I think that it's going to be highly variable. It's going to depend on the individual, and it's going to depend on their resources and also where they live, and any interactions they may have with other people. More often than not, hobbies are driven based upon friendships and relations. Most people don't just choose a hobby randomly. They're usually introduced to it by someone else. And so, I mean, definitely that's how it happened with me when it came to trading cards. I was introduced to trading cards from a variety of people, and then whenever I got introduced to a card, I tried it out. If I liked it, I played it. If I didn't, I didn't. So I think that exposure plays a huge role when it comes to our ability to participate and be interested in hobbies. And having I wouldn't say necessarily a mentor or a friend guide you, but something to at least introduce you is necessary. So if you're in a funk, the key thing is to try and be a person who's open to things even when you're feeling down. Because if you are closed, then you're less likely to be able to take in those things. Kind of like when we discussed happiness a couple months ago.
Yeah.
One of the key elements in that particular thing had to do with the fact that if you weren't accepting of other people and you were not an open person and being willing to readily receive feedback and commentary and be kind of open to taking on new challenges, then you were likely to be closed off and not being willing to take the opportunities that were put in front of you. And this kind of fits in the same category too, because if you're presented with an opportunity to partake in a potentially new hobby, and you're a type of person who dismisses everything that's in front of you automatically without even giving it a second of thought, then you're less likely to be open, and you're as such not going to make as many friends, not going to be able to do a lot of things, and so that kind of puts you into a bad spot. Versus even if you're feeling down, you're feeling if the thing that's being presented to you is technically free, and it doesn't require anything other than your time,
Yeah.
and you have the time to available, then you should consider partaking, at least experiencing it, because every time you do it, you're going to be broadening your horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Which is similar to what I said about the happiness thing, but it's true. It's
Yeah.
true of this whole thing. So.
Okay. All right. So I know we touched on it a little bit, but I think you could probably go into some more detail.
Sure.
What do hobbies do for your health? Like, how can hobbies help you stay healthy, emotionally, cognitively, physically, that sort of thing?
Okay. So we've talked a lot about physical health, and I'm not going to go down that road. I think a lot of people can know that it's common
It's
sense.
like we're done.
Yeah, if you do running and you do exercise, you're probably going to have a healthier body, which means you're going to have a healthier lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We know this one. We beat this like a drum. The thing that I'll discuss that we haven't really discussed too much has to do with the way in which we perceive the world and how we have an emotional response to things. A lot of people tie their sense of self-worth and their idea of being to typically a set of things or set of activities, and they measure their self-worth based upon their let's say how good they are. I'll use simple language, sorry. How good they are at the set specific activities. If the activities that they're doing they are poor at, then they're going to have a slightly negative outlook on those particular things, and they're not going to feel super good about themselves when relating to it. And so it's a hobby that'll likely fall off in not too long, if no one interjects. And so one of the things that I think that can help when it comes to those kinds of things is just having a good, healthy overall mental awareness. And I think that's kind of one of the strengths of hobbies that's not necessarily physical, is that it allows you to build up a knowledge to be cognitively more aware of yourself, what you're doing, how you're interacting with the world, how you're interacting with specific individuals, and gives you different pathways by which you can challenge yourself to grow as a person, all the while building yourself up, giving you greater confidence, giving you greater sense of self-worth, and overall making you feel really happy about yourself. And you can look at it as, oh, hey, look, I achieved this, so I'm crossing this particular road and I'm doing something. Versus someone who may not have that many hobbies or may not even have hobbies generally at all, and they would be like, well, I guess I'm not doing anything. So it's a good, I think that in that way, hobbies can really promote your health, because if you are feeling good, if you are emotionally happy, then your body is less likely to be affected significantly by an illness. If you get the flu and you're happy, well, you're gonna suck for a day or two, but you're not gonna be like, I'm gone for 2 weeks. versus someone who maybe is feeling very negatively and is filled with stress hormones like cortisol, and is just unable to really mount a accurate good defense against some potential pathogens. So at least that's one or two ways in which I suppose that you can look at it from a health side.
Okay. All right.
You seem like you have questions.
Kind of.
Okay, what's up?
It's just like I'm wondering about the whole perspective thing. Just the idea of hobbies in general and whatnot. Do you think there are any aspects that are very important to note or anything like that?
Yeah, I think there's
I
probably
know I like the
things.
ability to kind of just drop a hobby or pick it up later, that sort of thing. You can kind of swap them.
Oh yeah, I think that's two different things though. Okay, that's two completely different things. So I think the ability to take on a new hobby and potentially drop a few hobbies for a little while is totally normal and perfectly okay. I mean, everyone gets stale of something if they do it for long enough. I mean, I play multiple trading card games, right? I play multiple trading card games because one trading card game gets boring after a while. It's like, okay, I've learned all I want to learn from this. This is feeling dull. Let's move on to something new and exciting that I don't know.
Yeah.
Where's a new greener pasture for me to conquer? That's the kind of my outlook. And so, and then I'll be like, oh, it's been a couple months. What's going on in that card game? What's going on with Magic right now? All right, let's check it out. See what's going on. Yeah, or like Pokemon or something like that. So it depends. When it comes to the trade card games for me, and I think that's true probably with anybody, and probably true with any hobby. It doesn't just strictly mean just trading cards. It could be absolutely anything. So I mean, I don't think there's a problem with that. I mean, it just means that you're a person who, if you are that particular type of person, it means that you are open to figuring out and looking at different things and being okay with expressing yourself in the moment. Which I think a lot of people sometimes shy away from. They're like, I don't want to be perceived this way or this way, so I'm gonna do this thing that people know I'm good at and know I'm interested in, just to make sure that everyone else is happy. It's like, at that point, is that really a hobby or is that upkeep? You know what I mean? Like, that's not.
It sounds like an obligation and not a very good one.
Yeah, and I think hobbies are not supposed to be obligations. I think they're supposed to be something that you can. It's an activity you freely choose to explore and challenge yourself with, and that's it. If you're doing
happy, drop it.
Exactly. If you don't like doing something, you should be free without any consequence to be like, and I'm done. And at some point in the future, if you decide, hey, I want to pick it back up again, you should be free to do that too. So that's kind of how I look at that. I don't know if I answered your specific question though.
I think maybe.
Okay.
Maybe it's just like, I think you got the whole lack of commitment.
Yeah, I mean, I think
like
definitely.
You don't have to commit to a hobby. You can if you want to, but you don't have to.
Yeah, hobbies
but,
aren't cuffs. They're not handcuffing you to something. You're like, you will play that board game now. You will do that.
No, stop. It's like, I think that's like, what bugs a couple of people down about like things that aren't considered hobby or things that they don't consider hobbies, because it seems like an obligation. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have to do this again. That sort of thing.
Dude, let the other guy play. What are you
they're
talking
talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh!
Also, let's do this thing real quick. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Oh, I couldn't even see. Oh. Yeah, oops.
I don't know. At this point, are you playing still against computers or other people?
Those were other people, but don't worry, my loss is imminent.
Your loss is imminent.
Yeah, I play against a guy who plays some sort of shenanigans against me. That was Gaia, the Fierce Knight stuff, and I was forced to go first, and I had a really shit hand, so I lose that game, and I lose it in like one. It's this exact game right here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, yeah. Okay. So,
is there anything else you want to talk about for this?
Not really. Honestly, I think
we can always touch back on.
Yeah, I think we've kind of addressed a lot of the things. I think the only thing I would really say is that don't let other people dictate to you what your hobbies should be. Let your hobbies be something you freely choose. Understand that those hobbies are a reflection of the decisions that you've made, and that those hobbies are going to build off of you. You're going to become stronger from exploring those things, and you should never feel ashamed of what you enjoy doing, because at the end of the day, it's on you and no one else. So I would say enjoy your hobbies. I would encourage everyone to explore hobbies, and try and find a new hobby as frequently as you can, because hobbies are going to let you grow as a person, and I think that's a good thing. So I think that wraps up tonight. I hope that you guys all had some fun. I hope that it was engaging, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the thing. I definitely enjoyed the chat, so hopefully in the future you guys will have more things to say and whatnot, and I'll be happy to engage you guys. And Saturday we're going to be talking about cataclysms, and more like the fear of cataclysms specifically.
Yeah.
So we'll be addressing that. I'm going to try and make it not doom and gloom. I'm going to try my best to talk about it from a neutral standpoint, and not like a fear mongerer. But I can't control the content. Sometimes things are just going to come out that way, and yeah.
We're going to see what happens, folks.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I guess that's it. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Till then, later.